Hello my dear viewers, welcome back to Ruhoni Sewing. Welcome to part 4 of this series where we are going to learn about the mistakes and lessons that we have gathered while making this top. So please get ready, get your paper and pen and sit down and let us start. So in this tutorial I made almost 4 patterns for the peplum top, and let us see what happened. So you might be wondering, why am I sharing these lessons? It is because I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did when I was making these tutorials, but also we are giving opportunity to others to share with us what they think we should have done, and so at the end of the day we are learning even more. So here the actual pattern that I used when sewing the peplum. Here we have the center, front and back, and that is our side seam. I made this pattern following the tutorial from the Kim Dev. I've linked her video in the description box below. Lesson 1 is on pattern making. Let us start with the very first method. So with this first method, we have this pattern where the distance here at the waist and that one here at the bottom was different. And with this pattern, I used the same method, but the distance at the waist and the bottom were the same. And so with this actual pattern, what I did, I added this distance here, 12 at the waist, and at the bottom, it was 32 centimeters. So you see here at the center, we've added a pattern. As you look at these tapes, okay? Remember, this pattern was like this at the beginning. Okay, then we draw a line and we cut at the center, and then we added the pattern, this pattern here. And then after that we made the measurement and came up with this pattern. So when I was making this piece of the pattern, I took the waist, which was 91 centimeters, divided by 6.28, I got 14.5. That is as my radius. And I used that distance to measure all around. So just to remind you, this is what I did all the way around. I measured 14.5 centimeters. And now let us see the second method. So this was my second pattern, okay? And so what I did, I thought with our first pattern, if you remember, let me open it up. Remember, we added this piece of a pattern at the center. So I thought, let me make a pattern where there will be no need for us to join another piece of a pattern paper. Okay, so what I did, I took 91, that is in centimeters, divided by 6.28, and I got 14.5. Then what I did, I added 12 centimeter. Remember that 12 centimeter, this distance here at the waist where we added from our first pattern, I added it to 14.5, and now we ended up with that 26.5 centimeters. After that, now I took that 26 and started to make this peplum. Remember, we are measuring from the corner, and I measured 26.5 all around, so I ended up with this pattern. Okay, this is the pattern that I got by using 26.5 as my radius. Then after that, I measured our waist here at the top, that distance, and then I looked for the center of it and I draw a line. Remember, this center was the placement of our pleat. Then after that, I measured on this other side of the line 6 centimeters and on the other side 6 centimeters. Then I put these marks, as you can see here. After that, continue as we did before. Let us fold our pleats and see our final product, how it is going to look like. Now let me put these two patterns side by side. So here, I don't want you to think of the bottom part of this second pattern. Remember, I did not add any centimeters to this pattern. Please let us concentrate only at the waist, because at the bottom of this second pattern, I did not add any extra centimeters. So this here from our first pattern, this is our true waist, okay, measurement. But when you look at our second pattern, look, it is bigger than the first, even though we have already folded these pleats. So here is our first lesson. When you add more, because what I was thinking, if you're going to get rid of the 12 centimeters as pleats, then we are going to end up with our 14.5 centimeters. But it seems that is not possible. You end up with a bigger waist like you've seen here. Now here I was trying to put them side by side, aligning the pleats, but it didn't work. Let me take it a bit further up. Yeah, so from this part here you can see clearly that the waists are not aligning. So the second pattern we ended up with a very big waist measurement. Now let us see the third method. So with the third method, what I did, this is the pattern that I got. What I did, I took the 91 centimeters, okay, that was our waist. In centimeters, I plus 12 centimeters for the pleat at the center, but also I wanted to have a pleat at the side seam, that is 6, half of it. I added all that, and then I divided it by 6.28. There I got 17.4 centimeters. If I have confused you with the 6 centimeters, you might get rid of it and only take the 91 plus 12 centimeters, where we are going to get 103 centimeters divided by 6.28. So here I've realized I might confuse people by adding these 6 centimeters. So I decided to make a different pattern, this small pattern here. So like I said previously, for this pattern I took 91 centimeters plus 12 centimeters, and I got 103 divided by 6.28, I got 16.4, and I made this pattern. So following the same steps, I got this pattern, and then I draw this line at the center. Then I measured 6 on either side of the line, and I folded the patterns just like I did before. And this was our final pattern. Now compare the waist with the 2 patterns that we made before. So here I was trying to rearrange the patterns so that you can see that there are differences in the waist measurement. So let us now summarize on the lesson learned. With this one, we made it by adding 12 centimeters to the radius of 14.5, ending up with a 26.5. That's the one I used to make this pattern. Here we were avoiding adding the pattern paper here at the pleat. And for this one here, I added 12 to this waist measurement, and we ended up with 16.4. When I was making now the pattern, we ended up with a very small waist. And here is our true pattern, where we had to add the pattern paper to make up for the pleat. Second lesson is on pleat measurements. This is on the amount to add at the bottom of our peplum here, okay, as well as at the waist. With this pattern here, we had 12, and at the bottom we had 32, 20 more inches at the bottom. This is because I wanted my peplum to be very flared, and if you turn it at the back, you see the amount of flare. Compare it now to this pattern here. For this one, it's the same as the other one, except for the length, of course, and also here, the distance here at the waist and the distance here at the bottom are the same. And when we fold our pleat, okay, this is our pleat, okay, now let us turn it around. This is the amount of flare that you have. And so again, you look at the amount of flare for our first pattern at the bottom, compare it to the top. Okay, and again, if we take our second pattern, the width of our pleat, as you can see here, it is the same here at the bottom as well as here at the waist at the top. So guys, before I point out my observation, let us check our top again. So you've seen our first plate, and this is the second one, and this is the front part of our top. So what I've observed with this pattern, especially this one here at the bottom, okay, let me turn it. You see, with this width of the pleat, it is very difficult to see the pleat itself, as I've just shown you, because the flare is too much, and this pleat here is very, very difficult to be seen. So, just for my opinion, if I'm going to make this top again, this distance here at the top will be the same as the distance here at the bottom of the top. I believe that way the pleat can be seen clearly. Okay, so I'm going to use this type of pattern where this distance here at the waist will be the same as that one at the bottom. So I'm going to measure the top and the bottom, because I believe as long as you are making a circular, okay, this part here, it is going to be flared. No need for me to add even more. I believe because it is circular, this flare is going to be enough. I don't need to add more inches at the bottom. So these are the patterns that I made with different methods, okay? So at the end of the day, we must add the paper here, okay, to get the correct pattern. But again, I want to point out, even though I've made all these patterns, I believe there might be other ways to make this pattern. If anyone has any other idea of how we can draft this pattern easily, please share with us in the comment section below. Thank you so very much for watching.